watching right now, once again, do remember that you can, we all weekend long are benefiting First Responders First. We're raising money for them. So feel free to just follow the links that are down below the screen where you're watching if you want to donate. We've also got merch available, and we are doing one-on-one meet and greets with a lot of the guests. So some of those, I believe, are still available to book. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to all of you for being here, ladies. What I was going to say is, like, just to lead into things, we were talking about how everybody's just sort of doing the best that they can at this point.
Totally.
The chat is going crazy. There's rainbows, there's crowns, there's hype. People are very excited. I'm seeing a lot of Queen emotes dropping in there. That's that's what we like to see. So before we get into talking about the show a little bit, just how is everyone doing? We're in this weird situation where everyone's in relative isolation. Have any of you found that you've sort of had the energy to continue to stay creative? Has anyone gotten really into Pinterest projects, redecorating your home, baking? Louisa, why don't we start with you, since you crafted this beautiful crown?
I clearly have made at least one thing since I've been in quarantine.
Yes.
This is definitely the most dressed up I've been since we started. But I'm wearing the same pants I've worn for pretty much the last month.
Nice.
I've done a bit of creative stuff. I have a lot of half-finished projects. It's funny you can talk about creative. I started a painting, but I didn't finish, and it's been. I don't know how to paint. I
love you have it on hand. You're like, mention that.
Honestly, it's been sitting on the kitchen table, so I can hopefully finish it for weeks, and I haven't done anything about it. So.
Just casually, a Louisa original is.
It'll be on sale, $19.95. I'll post the link when it's ready.
Oh, Louisa, that's a bargain. $19.95. What about you, Jessica? Did you make this crown that you're wearing? Where did this crown come from?
Well, I'm really glad you asked. I pre-ordered this 4 months ago in anticipation that you guys would create this at-home convention.
Oh wow!
And it's look how delicate. It's we're in the middle of moving. All of our home furnishings and everything was shipped from Los Angeles to Vancouver in the midst of all of this. So then it descended upon us. And like, if I moved the computer, our house is just like exploded with boxes. So this is some paper that I believe once housed like a plastic cup from, we were there to pack our house. We hired people to go and do it. So they just packed everything, which now in hindsight, we couldn't go across the border, which is why we didn't do it ourselves. But but they packed things like they actually paper packaged a paper towel roll.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think pre-packaged.
Right.
Yeah. It kind of comes packaged in its own packet, but they're like, nah, let's paper this shit up. So I took that and I just taped some glitter onto it. And
what did you draw? A little heart and a star? That's lovely.
Really nice.
Good choices. Lovely.
Really, really good choices.
During COVID, paper towel and toilet paper are a commodity. So
they really are a commodity. So I feel like, though, for all of you, because you've been living in the 100, you must feel like somewhat well prepared for society to collapse in some way.
You would think.
Pretend.
Taz, did you make your crown, or is this a?
This is made also out of tin foil.
Oh,
nice.
Very nice. Really nice.
You did a better job with yours than mine.
That's really, I thought this was amazing. And like, I have emojis that I like. Did you use tin foil, or where'd you get gold foil like that?
This is actually this I bought online. It's like some stuff that you can like peel. It's like peel and stick, so you can like.
Oh yeah.
And then this is duct tape, but it's smooth for some reason. I don't know what it's for. I found it at my mom's. But
nice.
Rocky Recovery in the chat said that they thought your crown was metal. Actually, Taz.
Yeah, it does.
Metal.
Reads like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Great.
It definitely does. Sarah, I do like your emoji crown though. That was very, very cool. I also get
It's printed on like the inside is some sort of script or audition.
Pretty normal.
Yeah, that's the most like sort of classic actor thing is as far as recycled paper goes. It's like, I don't know, these were audition sides maybe.
Yeah, it's always double printed.
Yeah. Always. I mean, but you know what? Better for the environment, right? You gotta preserve.
Totally.
So you guys are now. Listen, we're just gonna address something right off the bat here, which is that some of y'all are dead at this point on the show. Several people here, or at least have come to the end of their story. Chelsea, I feel like Harper, she got to kind of live a whole life.
But you can't get rid of me.
Chelsea just keeps on coming back.
Yeah.
And but I mean, going into the 7th and final season of the show. So, you know, I feel like Emery, Louisa, she's like in a kind of okay place, like as far as things go, where you could end up, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of season 6, she's okay. She's not under intense threat necessarily. I feel like she's in a decent spot compared to a lot of seasons and the show in general. So yeah, I feel good about where she starts, I think.
Yeah, she's alive. And then, alive. I mean, things were, Echo was involved in some event at the end of the last season that's a little unclear, I would say. Taz, how are you feeling, obviously without spoiling anything, about Echo's journey going forward?
I always love, like, obviously without spoiling everything. So we're asking about the event.
Yeah, just like the journey of where Echo is, where she ended in season 6, and sort of mentally where she's at going forward.
I mean, she's a person of service. She really kind of is somebody who, when she finds her family, she defends her family as much as possible, and she's a really strong warrior. So, she's pretty handy as far as survival is concerned, or whatever.
Sure.
But this planet, it brings threats that she's never encountered before, so she doesn't know how to get around them. And I think it's definitely like just destabilizing for her to not be able to feel strong and be like, I know what to do, or feel capable, because there's things that show up that she doesn't know it even exists. So yeah, that's where she ended at the end of the last season, is like in a bit of like what's going on here, these like there's some supernatural forces or something.
I was gonna say, I think her and also everybody else watching the show, quite honestly.
Yeah.
That is sort of the 100 in a nutshell, is like, here's another thing that you didn't know about before. Not in a bad way, just in like this what's happened on the ground runs pretty deep, I would say. Jessica, what about Nyla? Like, 'cause she's still around and kicking.
That's like the epitome of Nyla. You're still here? Yeah, she's here. I don't even know. I feel like season 7 was such and we obviously can't even speak about it yet, but it was such an intense year for us that I honestly couldn't even tell you where the hell I was at the end of season 6, because we're so far away from that in season 7. Like, so much happens in season 7. I'm like, what was that?
I think you were at the bar.
That sounds about right. Yeah. I feel like I ended a bar in season 7 as well. Nyla's just always at a bar. She's always been this. To be honest, like, my character wasn't supposed to last past an episode or 2. So the fact that she's hung in for 5 seasons has been quite wonderfully unexpected. And I think a lot of us had that same kind of vibe of like, you came for like a minute and then the next thing you know, the rest of your life was spent there. It's awesome. Yeah, like a lot of the characters on the planet, which is very cool. But yeah, she's been this constant kind of almost like a moral checkpoint, I find. And like, I don't know that that's noticed by any of the other characters, but I feel like she's just the one that's always kind of had a steady morale, and she's really there to build up other characters. which I really enjoyed. And like for me, I've switched over to behind the camera in recent years, and directing has really become kind of a forefront for myself. So Nyla was the perfect character because the show was so wonderful and all the cast were friends of mine that I was able to kind of switch seamlessly behind the camera, and everyone was loving and supportive of that, and I was able to kind of be there when I wasn't just acting, and watch and learn and kind of take part. And I feel like that kind of mirrored my Nyla's character like on the show as well, as she just was this constant thing that was always kind of around and like kind of got along with everyone. And
that's so interesting.
It was, it was. And then this season, I mean, pardon me, my secret. This season, she takes a bit of a different turn, which I feel like because they never really fully developed like a backstory or like a full storyline for her. The writers just started writing for me, so she becomes like really sassy this year. And at certain points just like is like fuck it and like just like is this here? So we're combining the two. So
yeah. I think that it is interesting because, you know, so much of the 100 is it lives in like a morally gray kind of space. A little bit. And not to say that Nyla is like 100% good, but she's one of the more sort of good characters, as you say, at least in terms of just like being there and being supportive of people. But you know, someone who is maybe not so much on the good side of things, I would say. We'll go over to Sarah. Let's talk a little about Josephine, because she was an important part of this current season, and you know, you sort of got to share being Clark in a way. How what was your reaction to like getting to really delve into that character?
Well, I didn't know going in. I had no idea what was going to happen, and I as well was supposed to be 1 or 2 episodes,
right.
So I show up on set, and then Jason, the creator, is just like, yeah, so then like the 6th you and like the 3rd you, and I'm like, what? Like there's more of me? He's like, oh yeah, there's like 7. And I'm like, so it was always just a game of catching up, and which made it that much more, I guess, real and natural, because I was just as confused as everyone else. And working with Eliza was really great because we were both in the same boat, and we got to collaborate on where she was at and what she was doing and how she felt. And yeah, it was really fun. I mean, she was a feisty little cat, so it was the best.
Yeah. I think that does lead really well into Caitlin Stein's question in chat. Did you ever get confused with storylines, since some of them can be complicated? It took me a while to figure out the primes thing.
Me too. I was like texting everyone like, what's a prime?
Yeah, you're like, I think I am one.
Like, we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. It's confusing. It gets confusing. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been here as long as you guys, but I think, has it always been this confusing?
Yeah, when the chip came, shit was getting.
Yeah.
I found
anything can happen, especially once the anomaly appeared. It was like literally anything could happen. So I think I died like 7 times, came back.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that that death isn't always quite so finite, I would say, on the 100. There's certainly the possibility to come back. However, you know, we do have a couple people who
fully dead.
Yes, fully dead. Yeah. Yes, including you, Rhiannon. You certainly seem to be fully dead.
Fully dead. Yeah.
Yes. Now, when you knew that Antari's like storyline was coming to an end, and you knew you were going to be killed off, what was your reaction to that?
Well, I was fortunate in the sense where, because I've heard like other people, I think Chelsea, you in particular, didn't know. You knew that it was just could be a possibility, and it was kind of looming like anybody on the show. But for me, I was so I felt very grateful because from my very first meeting with Jason, he was like, your character has to die in order to close the season and propel us into the next one. Of course, it could have changed, but I felt very grateful to know on day one, I was like, this is going to be this character's story arc, and that is it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that like scary phone call.
Right. Now, Chelsea, did you get a scary phone call? Or?
Yeah, I hate this story.
Yeah. I did, but as you said, some people might not be permanently dead, and season 7 is airing in
That's
2
true.
days. It's
2
2 days.
So exciting.
So you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, I got a phone call before I was starting work, actually, just about 5 minutes from set. Not that they would have known when my call time was, or that would have been happening. That
right.
By any means. But yeah, I got the phone call and had a good old scream sob in my car.
Bless you.
Like, ah! I was like, okay.
Classic Chelsea.
I gotta go to work now.
I would love to be a person walking by your car when that happens.
Yeah.
There was one man.
One man.
One man.
But obviously you have to, as Jessica actually so eloquently tweeted in our group chat this morning, the show must go on. So you compartmentalize it, you go to work, and I did the scene, I did the day, and then probably went to the bar like Nyla. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Hopefully you had emotional material that day, and then you could just chat,
that's
right?
the best.
I don't even remember. I think it was just like, green is good.
Yeah. Right.
I was going to say, do you all find it really like cathartic in some ways to get to play out all that really emotional material? But
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, because
I was thinking, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was thinking during this time, like I would sell my soul for an audition where I just got to fucking scream. Like that is, it feels so good when you're sitting on anything to be able to let it out and to do it for your job. It is the most incredible feeling because we are all constantly sitting on things that need to come out, and to almost feel like you have an excuse to do it. It's really, really wonderful.
Yeah.
Hugely cathartic.
Yeah. Totally.
Because I think there is
a way too. Sometimes you're like so happy you get to set, you have to cry, and you're like, oh,
I know. I know.
Why have to be so happy in my life right now? Why can't
I'm never happy. I
I think there is a level though too of when you are performing that emotional material of like, it's sort of relieving because the bad stuff is happening to your character, not to you. So you get to kind of like live that out without having to live with it going forward, if that makes any sense.
Totally.
It looks like we do have a video question, which Alex, I will have you queue up here. Now, you guys are not actually going to see the video. I'm not actually going to see the video. The video is for the people at home. They're going to play it, but I'll read you back what the video question was. But we do want to give our thanks to the people that submitted video questions. So,
yes, thank you.
All right, I see Alex is typing. He's typing live in 2, 1. Here we go.
Hi, this is a question for Luisa de Oliveira on the 100 panel, but other people on the panel can also chime in. You play a lot of really strong characters, not just in kind of a superheroine kind of way, but in a more realistic and kind of grounded way that's, you know, people who have overcome a lot of things and are very inspiring to people in the audience. So my question was, who, as a fictional character or a real person, is an inspiration to you? In your own life, as a performer, etc. Like, who do you draw inspiration from? Thanks.
That looked so fun.
All right. And we're back. So the question is for Luisa or for anyone else, you play a lot of strong, grounded, and inspiring characters. Who is an inspiration to you, either professionally or personally? Can be fictional or real.
Definitely my mom and aunties.
Aww.
In my real life, because there's so much personal stuff that a lot of them have been through, and they've all been such great examples of what it is to be a woman to me. And I'm working on living up to that ideal. But they're just, I don't know, I feel really, really lucky. My mom has some really, really amazing sisters, and they're wonderful women.
That's awesome. Anyone else? Chelsea, anyone come to mind for you?
Immediately my mother as well, and how lucky we are to have such amazing family to have that be our go-to answer. I did want to comment quickly that, Louisa, I've known you for so very long, and I think you are such a lovely, genuine,
Chels.
Julie, you're just ever classy, elegant, and present. So you're there.
Yeah. Thanks, Chels.
Which makes it all the more fun when you know her personally and she's the opposite.
Taz, does anyone come to mind for you in terms of women who inspire you?
Oh, I think definitely my mother, like for sure. I mean, there's a lot of women, there's a lot of great actresses, and I had a chat. My mom's in Mexico. She's kind of stuck there for the last little while, and she's not sure about if she can, about traveling back because she's high risk. She doesn't want to be in airports. But I was talking to her on Mother's Day for 3.5 hours, and we started to talk at 11 p.m. So it was I was talking until morning with her. And it's so inspiring to speak to her. And I was just really asking her very pointed questions and dialoguing with her about female empowerment, or I hate that combo of words, but about feminism and about what it was like growing up, for her and me. And we talked about living before the internet, before having cell phones, and living after. And I was like, which one would you like to live in? 1990s and prior, or when cell phones and internet hit? And she was like, "Hoo, good question." And we were just having this great dialogue. And I got,
what did she say?
Yeah, I want to know the answer.
Yeah.
Better Google it
next time. She said without the internet. She said in the 90s. And it was interesting because she's someone that pioneered the internet. She pioneered online education. So she was I remember growing up so into the internet. And now she's it went a bit sideways in some respects.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a great discussion. And,
nice. His Mallard 117 asks, if you could change roles for one day on the show, who else would you want to play?
Jason.
Hey.
Really? No, that's the hardest fucking job on the planet.
I was like, I know.
Jason has the hardest job on the planet, and he does it really well, and he gets very little credit from the outside world for what Jason's our showrunner.
Yes.
Gets very little credit for what he does, and he gets a lot of shit, and it's so hard to do his job. I would never want to touch it. He was like, "Do you want to be a showrunner?" I was like, "Never." Go through, never. Character wise, I've always said Murphy, which is not just to put my brother out of a job, but such a fucking great.
Because you want to date a Maury, right?
Because I
knew it.
I want to be Murphy too.
I knew it.
I want to get to Louisa.
Well, since Maury and Murphy have had their whole storyline, Louisa, what about you? Any thoughts on who else you'd want to play?
I mean, man, I'd be curious. I would love to play Indra. I don't think I could.
Sick.
I don't think I could ever touch that. But man, it's just because Adina is so amazing, and she makes it. She's so good. It makes you want to touch it somehow, be a part of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Rhiannon, this is your chance to play someone who's still alive.
Anyone that's not dead. Please let me take literally anyone that's still fucking alive.
Rhiannon has such a look right now. The Coors Light.
I know.
That's all I've worked together. This is my aesthetic today. Yes. Did you finish that bottle, Taz?
Nope. Still pretty heavy.
Nice.
Chelsea, is there anyone else you would want to play on the show?
My answer is always Murphy.
He's just such a great character.
He does such an amazing job with it, but also the character is so back and forth and so dark, so light, so multifaceted.
Yeah.
Honest, I'm sorry, but I want my hand. I want Trilexa.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I respect that.
That's a good call.
My knife skills, and I just feel like I'd be like, bam.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know.
Want to play Monty? Also,
Sarah, this is your chance to show up earlier in the show. Who would
Murphy, hands down Murphy. I always say Murphy.
Everyone says
I love it.
He's the best.
It's so fun, and it's like I actually think I lucked out because I think Josephine is a little bit like Murphy, which was really fun. She's very cheeky and like she's, you know, she doesn't take anything too seriously except for like everything.
Yeah.
But she, you know, she gets her little shots here and there. She's kind of sassy. So yeah.
I think a character who like in the hands of a lesser writing team could have been very two-dimensional. Is there, as you say, she's very well rounded. She's not just like mustache twirly villain, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on there.
She doesn't believe for 1 second that she's a villain.
Oh no. Yeah. I think that is definitely some of the strength of the character of Josephine and of all of the primes in particular, is that they are the heroes of their own story.
Yeah.
Across the board. And that's what makes this show as compelling as it is. I want to know from you guys, what aspect of your character do you think is like the most adjacent to yourself, and what's the most different in terms of when you're like trying to get into character? What do you connect with most quickly, and what's like the hardest to find? I'll give you a second. It's a heady question.
My answer feels very shallow, but it was what first came to my head given the current circumstances that we're living in.
Right.
Had no fucking idea what she was doing and was kind of just like faking it until she made it. I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing right now in the way the world is that I'm suddenly very aware that I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm just literally every day just being like, just, you know, fake it and, you know, get by as best you can. Do the best you honestly can with what you're given.
Esther, I love the fact that you're just saying faking it till you make it. Well, it's like 10:30 and you're holding a Coors Light in a minute.
You make it. You get it.
Hilarious. And you're winning.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you.
No, it's like fantastic.
No,
just being so serious and like the chorus is like friends.
Make it till you make it, guys.
Sarah, thoughts on Josephine, since we were just having such a deep conversation about this great character?
I mean, I think I would say one of the main things that leads her is her love for Gabriel. And I think I can relate to that. I love really hard and full force. And I think it really takes over my life. And so I think that kind of eternal love I can relate to.
That's so nice.
Not so much the digs to people's faces.
Sure.
I can't do that in real life. I wouldn't do that in real life, but it was fun to do it on the show.
I love it. That's amazing. Louisa, what about you?
I think, I mean, this is super personal, but Maury's kind of deep fear that she really runs under the surface of her whole existence, because that's very much something that I have like super deep down that I don't even like to look at sometimes. And, you know, a lot of time in quarantine kind of makes you start thinking about these
for
things.
Sure.
Where you're like, what are the real, you know, deep dark boxes that I need to dig into in my life. I think that's whether I like to admit it or not when playing Maury, something that I definitely connect to. And then it's super fun to play, and something I don't always tap into in my life, but she can be very super playful and super aggressive with her playfulness when she wants to go there. I mean, I've never obviously gone to the point of her playfulness, which is like beating people up and stealing all their stuff.
Sure.
But that's
so playful.
That's her play. She's like, we're having fun.
Just kidding.
Right. I don't mean anything. You can probably get another one. What's the big deal? So that's definitely not like something I relate to, but it's super fun to dive into.
Yeah. No, I think it's fun to play far away from yourself. Jessica, what are your feelings about Nyla? How she's most like you and least like you?
She's least like me in her everything is beautiful. I support you all no matter what. I'll see you till the end of time. Like that's where I'm like, girl, you were in a bunker and like and feeding them, and you're like, she's just gotta like get through it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, kill Octavia. What are you doing? She's crazy. Like there's the blind support. I don't know. I say that, but also that might be the thing that I find most common with, which just doesn't make any sense. But I find her blind support for people that are obviously doing wrong, but she sees them. I think it's endearing. She sees them for their best traits and tries to, you know, help them with their worst. I think it's very admirable that she's like that. I'm not like that in real life. I could probably take a page out of her book, but that's not as much me. More so my connection to her is her like, yeah, bitches be crazy, like, but I'm too tired to really do anything about it.
Nice.
Yeah, she's kind of like, all right, like, I guess we're doing this now. Like, you want to go into space again? Okay.
Yeah.
Blow up the world if you say so. Like, you know, she supports her friends, and I feel like I'm the same in that. Yeah, it's weird. I feel like the thing that I like hate that what I hate about her and love about her are kind of one and the same. So it's kind of a strange, I'm like blowing my own mind thinking about it.
It's very deep. And also I think that just like being too tired to really care that much, it's like that's literally anybody. Once you hit like 30 something, you're just like, it's fun, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
My favorite, I should add to, because this is like a separate note that I do want to make a point of saying, I really enjoy the fact that she has become a friend to a lot of the characters, and you see a lot of fans talking about shipping. Shipping is a big part of a lot of fandoms. It's a huge part of our fandom. And I think it's wonderful because it brings a lot of people together, but it can also be very difficult because it can rip a lot of people apart. And that's where it gets a little dangerous. I like Nyla because she, had some love, sex connections with certain characters at certain points, but that doesn't define her relationship with them. And I feel like we spend a little too much time being like, well, these people need to end up together. No, these two people, and it's like, or how great is it when you just see these friendships forming, and like that's that's what the show was about from the beginning. These people working as a group, not like pairing off in a love connection. What are their relationships as people and as humans and as friends, and how can they support each other in that? And I feel like that the Nyla character's always kind of stood for that, because she hasn't been connected to anyone for a long time. So she was able to be like this really true friend to Clark and then to Octavia. And you get so many people being like, but are they endgame? I'm like, fuck your endgame. Like, their endgame is that they're friends, and friends work out a lot better, trust me, in the long run.
And it's also nice to see characters who, as you say, shipping is definitely a big part of it, and that's fun and everything, but ultimately the reason that people are into shipping these characters is because they're not defined by their romantic relationships. They are individuals. And even characters like Harper, obviously you got like sort of as close to a happily ever after, I think, as one can get. But still, that's not what's most interesting about Harper. I wonder, Chelsea, what you feel like is closest about yourself to Harper versus what's the furthest from who you are.
Lovely hosting. Look at you, bring that back around.
Nice. We got you, Chelsea.
I'm not going to beat Jessica's answer. I'm not going to try. I will tell you, the thing closest to me is that we're both in love with Christopher Larkin.
That's a great answer.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Taz, what about with Echo?
Well, you took my answer, Chels.
You can have that too.
I've been secretly in love with Monty this whole time.
Yesterday I went for a hike, and I was like, and it was like right after we spoke, like it was like 5:30 or something, and I was like running. I was like, okay, I have to go on this hike before it gets dark. It's like raining out, and I get to like the hike, and I decided for some reason to do like the big one where you go like deep into the woods. I don't know what was up yesterday, and I'm like, and then I convinced myself that there was like a bear. No, I was like, this is the day I'm going to see a bear, and I'm going to be by myself. No one's going to be around. I'm going to get eaten by a bear. And I just got, I triggered myself, I guess. And then I just ran through the woods. Like, And the whole time I was like, every time like a bird flew or there's like a, I don't know, whatever, twig that cracked or whatever, I was like, that's there. And then I kind of like needed to catch my breath after like an hour and a half of this or whatever.
Oh my God.
And I was like, Echo had to live like this.
Right. In a constant state.
Yeah.
And I was like, that must be awful. Like I almost fell over like 100 times. Like I could barely keep it together. I was like, she's really strong and I'm just trying to make it, you know. So I mean, she's like so resilient. Echo's just such a powerful, resourceful, capable person. And, you know, it's something that I thought about during this quarantine is like how many lows she's hit in her life where she's decided to get back up and keep pushing, you know, at the end of season 4 or something. When she gets into the rocket, season 4, when she gets into like the rocket and she goes up, like the world was exploding. Yeah, she had no friends. She had to go to her enemies and be like, can you help me, please? And, you know, she ended up saving their lives and it all worked out. But like her resilience is something that's, I, you know, look up to or whatnot. But
for sure.
Something I have in common is her loyalty, you know.
Looked up to, aspire to, all of those are good things, even if again, like you don't necessarily naturally see those things as much in yourself. It's still, I think, beneficial that you like look at a character and go, oh, here's something that I admire about them that I would like to apply to my own life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good.
Give me a shout, Tass. I hike like once a week and I got all the bear bangers.
The bear what?
To, like, make yourself big and like
I was gonna say
I see that.
Yeah, Chelsea, could you enlighten us with Chelsea's tips for if you encounter a bear in the wild?
I'm gonna go real Dwight Schrute on your asses right now.
Well, I was like, I want to attribute it to the right person. Scotty 0709 again wants to know, have you ever stolen anything from set?
Oh, I have. Yep.
Taz is going to get it.
Oh, here she goes.
Anybody else have an item that they recall but perhaps do not have in their immediate possession?
Mine's buried in a closet. I accidentally stole a Nyla tank top this year because it was like under my clothing. And then I also have a lot of like, they give you undergarment, like not underwear, but they give you like long warm clothing to put under your wardrobe.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, so all the tracksuit pants, everything.
It just has like Nyla in it.
Yeah.
And I have a Nyla tank top. But we also finished, I think a lot of us were planning on going and purchasing some of the stuff or asking.
But then this fucking happened.
But then this happened. When our show went down, we shot on the Saturday that I wasn't there, but they shot on the Saturday that when this all happened and everything shut down on the Monday. So I think there was a lot of plans to go and like I really wanted Nyla's boots and like I'm sure a lot of people wanted pieces of their costume or whatever it was, but we didn't get.
Well, hopefully all that will be on hold, like so many things, and that like it will go back to doing that. Like you guys missed your whole wrap party for your entire 7 seasons of the show. Like hopefully those things will come back after all this is over.
Yeah. Not holding my breath, but it would be nice.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Tassia apparently stole a bunch of shit, so
here she's just collecting it all.
If I had time to show it all, I would. No, so I went.
There's like the sword thrown behind.
Oh
my god!
And out, she's living in the ark.
I'm videoing you from right now.
But what did you go grab?
I forgot my orthotics in my shoes. So I drove back and I was really tired. And it was on that Saturday. I filmed on that last day, and there's a lot of things going on. And I went back to get my orthotics, and I was like walking through the space, and like Corona had begun shutting down the world, and so it was feeling very like empty and vacant, the world. And I was driving on this empty highway, get to the studio. And I go to get my orthotics, and then I'm like, I have this time to walk through the space kind of, by myself. And I was like, wow, like this is a lot. It's really beautiful. Like, this is such a special time. Like, and I look over and I see this.
No.
I was like,
That's
Oh
how do
my
I?
gosh.
What's
With
gonna?
that
I
sweet too?
need.
Fuck, that's the best.
So I was like, I'm gonna grab this for Richard, and I
Don't
know,
ever give that to him.
Be
You
so
keep that
weirded
for
out
yourself.
If I give it to him, I'm gonna be like, here.
Does he know you have it?
I put it on my wall, and then I was like, screw it. So I put it on my wall.
Yeah, he has enough pictures of himself.
Yeah.
You keep that.
Funny.
That's so funny.
Cassia, is that a Louisa original?
It is. That's the first one.
Yes.
The bottom.
Nice work.
Yeah.
Way to
That's definitely my work. 100%. I'm really good.
Well, I have to say, Louisa, you really captured his likeness.
I mean, it's spot on.
To a T.
I stole Harper's bullet. Her last bullet she ever shot.
Oh, nice.
That's very cool. That's
oh my
very cool.
god. That's
Where do you
crazy.
keep that?
Yeah, right now I was racking my brain. I'm like, where'd that bullet at? And then I just leaned over my bedside table and found it.
Nice.
So if I ever have
Nice.
a lover over, super not creepy to open my bedside table and find bullets.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Although I don't have a picture of
That's
Richard
that
Clark.
money pouch, babe.
You what?
What's happening? That little money pouch?
Oh yeah.
Your bling pouch.
Babe, what's happening? This
Listen,
money pouch.
I really want that massive canvas of my face so badly. I'm gonna put it
I
up.
actually almost grabbed that too.
Hey, it's like half finished. It's cool. Honestly, my dad wants it more than I do. He's like, "Where is that? Like, can I get it?" I'm like, "Okay, well, wait. Wait a moment."
Well, we do have to wrap things up here, but be sure to tune into the 100 season 7, the final season, when it starts airing on the CW in 2 days, right?
Wednesday. 3 days.
Yes, Wednesday, 3 days, 3 days. And keep your eyes peeled for massive canvases with people's faces painted on them in the background.
Spoiler alert. Fuck.
Any given scene. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us this morning at HomeCon. You were all fabulous.
It was so fun.
I'm excited to see, where your journeys continue to take you, and if Chelsea being so cryptic pays off in season 7.
Tweet us also your crown picks, everyone.
Yes.
We want to see them. If you're bored today and want to make a crown,
Tweet
we'd
your
love
crown
to
picks.
see what you make. Yeah.
Post them on your Insta
Or in
stories.
Queens.
Tag us. We want to see your crowns.
Exactly.
And thank you so much to everyone who is watching at home. Do not
you.
go away. We've got a bunch of additional panels continuing throughout the day here. And before that, we're going to turn things back over to Jackie, who's going to bring us into our next segment. So thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.